Hello, Mrs. Selif here, and I'm going to teach you a little bit about the robot mice, starting first with my expectations. So, each bin that you have is enough for 2 people, okay? So you have 2 sets of cards in 2 separate bags. My expectation is that you do not mix the cards together. Keep them separate for now, okay? Then you will have a blue and a pink robot mouse, and you will also have a tub of tiles. So in a moment, I'll tell you how to put the tiles together, but first I want to talk a little bit about the robot mouse. So the robot mouse is a lot like Bebot. That's why we were doing the Bebot app, in that when you push the purple and the orange buttons to turn, the robot turns, but it does not move forward. So it will stay in the same square and it will just turn, okay? So that's very similar to Bebot, and that's why we're gonna start with a small amount of tiles so that we can get used to it, okay? So the robot has a switch on the back right here where you can turn it on, and that's the noise it makes when it's on. There is a hyper mode. Please don't use hyper mode. It's too hard to tell where the bug is in your code when the mouse is in hyper mode, okay? So let's talk about the wheels on the robot mice, okay? These wheels will get broken if you push the mouse along with your hand. It is my expectation that the mouse only moves because you push the buttons, okay? You cannot use your hand to push the mouse along. That is how they get broken. And I will show you the picture of the one that got broken later so you can see how I try to fix it. And I cannot fix them when they get broken, okay? So only move it by pushing the buttons. So after you push in the buttons to do your sequence, you have to push this green button in the middle to run the code, okay? Then this yellow circle resets the mouse's memory so you can try again. And this red button tells the mouse to make a fun robot noise. So that is mostly everything you need to know about the robot mouse. Next, I'm going to show you how to take these tiles and put them together to make a simple maze. First things first, this bin is for 2 people to use. So you need to take out your tiles. You get 8 to start with. These might be yours, and then these would be the other person who's sharing your bin. So here's all my tiles. Notice that I've got little hooks. I'm gonna call them tabs, okay? There's tabs on 2 sides of every tile, and then there's some sides that don't have tabs, and I'm going to be calling these right here slots. These are slots that the tabs go into. So here I have my 2 tabs, and here is a side that has slots, and I can lay them down like that. So to know that they are in there properly, I'll just lift this. You shouldn't ever pick it up, but I'm picking it up to show you. So you can see that the edges are lined up here, that the edges are lined up, the edges are lined up on this side, and that the tiles are the same level. So some things that you can do wrong with the tiles is you can try and put them together when a tab is facing another tab. That doesn't work. You can try and put them together without aligning the edges. So you can see this right here. So I'll show you what happens if you have this sort of an error happening. So here's my mouse. I'm going to push the yellow button to reset the memory, push the blue button to go forward, and then push the green button. And my mouse got stuck. Okay, I'm gonna reset the memory again. It got stuck because if you look at this, there's a gap right here and this ledge, the mouse cannot go over it. So you have to make sure that you have your tiles lined up nicely, okay? Like that. So I'm gonna make my first maze really easy. I'm just gonna use 4 tiles. Okay. Let's talk about another mistake you can make with the tiles. You can put down a tile but have it not actually connected, so you can see the rest of these tiles are connected. This last one right here is not connected. And if you do that, I don't know if your robot can make it past there, okay? So make sure you connect it. All right. So I need to know where my robot is starting. So I'm gonna put my robot on the maze. And obviously my robot is trying to get here. So now, before I do anything else, I need to get my cards ready. So I'm gonna put all of my blue cards in a pile, my few yellow cards in a pile. You get 2 of these red cards. So that means you get to push the red button 2 times, and that's it. So here are my orange turns and my purple turns. And I just found my little bee. I'm gonna put it back in the bag so that it does not get lost. The little bee goes in the bag because next year I'm gonna have my kindergartners use this bee again, okay? So now I need to decide where I'm gonna lay out my sequence. I need to lay out my sequence. So I think I will move everything down a little and move my turns over here so that I can put my sequence right up here. So my sequence is just the order that I'm going to push the buttons, okay? So there's 2 ways that you can do this. The first way is to try and get all the way to the end of the maze right away. The second way is to put down a little bit of code at a time. So I'm gonna put down my forward and my turn, and I'm gonna reset the memory and do my forward and my turn, and I'm gonna go. Okay, so I'm really glad that I didn't put in all my code that time because I turned the wrong way. So now I'm gonna pick up my mouse, I'm gonna reset his memory with a yellow button, and I'm gonna debug my code. A bug in your code is just a mistake in your sequence, so the mouse doesn't do what you want it to do. So I'm gonna put in the other turn, and then I'm gonna do another forward and see if I end up, I think I'll be right here. Notice that I went all the way back to the start, okay? Okay, now before I pick up my mouse and put him back at the starting point, I'm gonna notice which turn, the orange turn or the purple turn, which turn is facing the way he needs to go so that I know which turn to put down. Isn't that smart? And then he'll still be in this tile, but he'll be facing this way, so then I can put down another forward. If your sequence has a bug, just debug it. Take out that card and put in a different card to try and debug your code. Okay, so the very first time you do this, you get to use 4 tiles. That is it. I still have 4 here. I have 4 more tiles, so now I can make a more challenging maze. If you can use all 8 of your tiles and get your mouse all the way to the end of the maze, raise your hand and show me, and I will let you have this bag. This bag has a block of cheese in it. And then at that point, you would be able to set up a maze and have your mouse try and go to get the cheese. You don't get the cheese until you can use all 8 tiles. And then if I give your partner the cheese and you haven't gotten through a maze with all 8 tiles yet, you don't get to have the cheese yet. Your partner is just going to have it by himself or herself while you continue to work on making sure you can get all the way through a maze that has 8 tiles. Okay, once both of you have completed a maze with 8 tiles, then you can combine your tiles together and you can make another maze that uses the same cheese for 2 different mice starting in 2 different places. Okay? You need to use the cards. If I see you pushing buttons on your mouse and I see your mouse running through a maze, but there's no card sequence, don't be surprised if I come by and take your mouse. And the proper thing to do if that happens is get out the cards in the correct sequence that you think you need to get through your maze, and then raise your hand and ask me for your mouse back so you can try your code, okay? So I don't want to have to take anyone's mouse, so make sure that you are using the cards, all right? And that is about everything we need to know right now about using the 8 tiles with your 1 mouse, okay? I almost forgot. When it's time to clean up, make sure you turn your mouse off. That is this switch right here. You can see it says off right there, normal and hyper. We're not going to use hyper mode. So your mouse is going to be in normal. Flip it off, okay? That's really important. And then clean up your cards, okay? You absolutely need to clean up your cards. Where's the rest of mine? Okay, well anyways, I'm cleaning up my cards. Notice that I did not mix up my card with my neighbor who's sharing the same bin as me. Give yourself some space between you. Put your sequences on different sides of your workspace so that you don't mix up your cards. Okay, so I'm going to get my cards back in here, and then I need to clean up my tiles. So your tiles are going to be stuck together. So if you start picking them up and they're like stuck like that, just carefully pull them apart so you don't break these tabs, okay? And then put it back in the bin. Put your mouse in with your bag of cards like this, and put it in the top of the bin like that, okay? And please make sure that I get back my cheese, okay? So I have it for my next class.